עמוד 2, נעשה את זה באנגלית.
Was the Guru seated on a lotus on the crown of my head, having been accepted through the portal of your great kindness, grant me the attainment of body, speech, and mind. To the river who ruled the Ganges, rescue the cruel king, sees the sun caught in confusion throughout the land, remain unintoxicated, protect the linga and subdue Chandali, renowned as the powerful Lord Mahasiddha, I prostrate. The Lord of the Yogin Sakya Kunga Nyingbo, who possess great compassion and unceasingly benefit others, I prostrate. To Sanam Tema, who through accomplishing immeasurable meritorious deeds, completely possessed the omniscient mind of primordial wisdom and became a supreme spiritual friend of sentient beings, I prostrate. To Taba Gyaltan, who realized the ultimate nature of all phenomena, perfected the ocean of numbers, the Lord of all Vajradharas, I prostrate. To Sakya Pandita, whose wisdom realized all knowable objects, whose great kindness accomplished both the temporary and the ultimate benefit of all beings and possessed the great power to fulfill inconceivable activities. At the feet of the Guru, the Lord Protector, Manjushri, I prostrate. Renowned as the emanation of the Samandabhadra Omniscient One in this regenerate age, appointed as universal Lord of the Dharma, at the feet of the scheduled Tapa, I prostrate. Promotion who accomplished an ocean of sutras and tantras, celebrated a festival of the wish-fulfilling joy of the teachings, bestowed an abundance of wealth of both temporary and ultimate benefit. At the feet of the glorious Guru, I prostrate. Completely blossoming in the power of the body through vast meritorious deeds. The lion's roar of the supreme teachings of the Tathagatas, which disperses the wrong views of the heretics like frightened animals. Protector of the teachings of the Buddha in the snow mountains, to Sonam Sangye I bow down. To you who remain steadfast and conscientious in the vast special vision of external values of impartiality and uphold all the activities of the Dharma, I supplicate at the feet of Losala Gyato. In all my life, may I remain inseparable from the sublime Guru and thus enjoy the glory of the Dharma. Having completely perfected the qualities of the ground and the path, may I simply attain the state of Vajradhara. For the power of praising and supplicating you for myself and all beings, wherever we live, may all sickness, poverty, woes, and disputes be pacified, and may Dharma and auspiciousness flourish. In the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Supreme Sangha, I take refuge until I reach enlightenment. By the merit of practicing giving generosity and the other professions, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. In the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Supreme Sangha, I take refuge until I reach enlightenment. By the merit of practicing giving generosity and the other professions, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. In the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Supreme Sangha, I take refuge until I reach enlightenment. By the merit of practicing giving generosity and the other professions, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. May all beings have happiness and the cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they never be parted from the bliss that is sorrowless. May they live in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to all, whether distant or close.
Is preferred with scented water.
The ground is purple with scented water and strewn with flowers. Mount Sindaro adorned with the four continents. With sun and moon, I offer this, visualizing the Buddha's realm. Through these meriting the organs enjoy pure realms. I entreat you to turn the wheel of Dharma of the greater and the common vehicle, according to the inclination and capacities of sentient beings. Now the remaining part of the clarifying the teachings intent will be taught this afternoon. So as always, first it is important to develop the right motivation, which means to develop the thought renunciation, towards the whole samsara, and then to develop the infinite loving kindness and compassion to all the sentient beings, and then to develop wishing and engaging bodhicitta. So with such right motivation, and also with right attitude and right perception, we should receive the teaching. Normally we say we should have 5 perception, which means we should perceive Buddha as a skillful doctor. We should perceive Buddha's teaching like a medicine. We should perceive ourselves as a patient, and we should perceive our own mental afflictions or afflicted emotions such as anger, ignorance, attachment, etc. as our own sickness. And we should perceive receiving teaching and following the teachings like receiving doctor's advice and following the doctor's advice. So every one of us need to practice Dharma, just like whoever is sick, every one of us need to take medicine to cure our own sickness. No matter how the skillful doctor are, if we don't take the medicine, if we don't follow the doctor's advice, then just by seeing a very great doctor, or just by hearing the advice of the great doctor will not cure our own sickness. To cure our own sickness, we need to follow the doctor's advice, not just hear, not just listen to the doctor's advice, but to follow the doctor's advice, or to put these words of doctor into our daily life, or in other words, to put these words into action. Then we can cure our sickness. So similarly, just by listening to the teaching is not enough. Just like listening to the doctor's advice will not cure the sickness. It is not enough. After that, then they must follow the doctor's advice in order to cure the sickness. Similarly, listening to the teaching is like the first step, and it is not complete. After that, then we need to contemplate, we need to understand the actual meaning. And that is also not the last part. After knowing, after having the intellectual understanding, then we need to practice accordingly, according to the teaching, according to our own understanding. So when we explain, we can explain in many different ways. Like this scholar is saying in this way, that scholar is saying in that way, etc. So when we explain, we don't need to choose one particular concept or view, but about the same meaning but different way of explaining, different way of presentation. We can do different kinds of presentation according to the different masters' way of presenting it. But when we practice, we can't have many different ways of practice. We should choose one. For example, to go a destination, there might be different ways to go there. This way or that way or another way to go to a same destination. But when we are driving or when we are going there, actually, at that time we can't go from different ways at the same time. Either we should choose this way or that way or another way. We can't choose all three ways at the same time to go to the same destination. So when we are actually going on the path, on the road, then we need to choose one highway or one road to go to a destination. We can't choose three different ways to go to our same destination at the same time. So similarly, when we practice, we can't choose many different ways to meditate or to practice the same meaning. We need to choose one. And to choose one, first we need to have a very strong conviction on choosing this particular way of practicing it. So to choose this, to be able to choose one particular way or one particular method, for that we need to have the understanding. Without understanding, we can't choose. We don't have the strength to choose. Because without knowing, we don't know how to choose. If you don't know the language, then we can't say he's good at this language or he's not good at this language. We can't give 100% or 80%, 90% or 70%, etc. We can't give marks. We can't give him a percentage. We can't give him or her a percentage because we don't know anything about this language. So how can we judge whether this person can speak that particular language, in a very fluent way or not, or he's speaking the language 100% or how many percent? If you don't know anything about this language, then we don't know how to judge. We don't know how to say. So when we practice, we need to choose one method. What I mean is, actually we can practice many different deities, but whatever deities that we choose, if we choose like few different deities, then yes, we can practice all these different deities. But when we practice, actually there are different deities, and even in one deity, there are many different ways to practice. So to choose this, we need to know, we need to have the understanding. But just understanding is not enough. After having the understanding, after having the intellectual understanding, then we need to follow, we need to implement, we need to materialize our understanding or our thoughts. I heard when you give a driving test, you need to give two kinds of tests, right? Theoretical tests and practical tests. Theoretical test alone is not enough. After passing the theoretical test, then you need to give a practical test. If you fail to give the practical test, then still you can't drive. You are not allowed to drive. Even though you pass the theoretical test, but still you can't drive. You are not allowed to drive. So you need to pass both theoretical tests and the practical tests. So similarly, just having the intellectual understanding or just having the theory of the Dharma is not enough. After having the theory or after having the intellectual understanding, then you need to practice, you need to implement, you need to put it into action. So, with the right motivation, you should receive the remaining part of the teaching. As I said before, Sakya Panita's text called this Clarifying the Sage's Intent has 7 major topics. We already have covered the 4 topics, first 4 major topics. First one is the race, second one is refuge, third one is bodhicitta, and fourth one is the 6th perfection. So, first 4 topics are already explained in not so detail because of the limited time. Now today, this afternoon, there's very limited time, so I will try to cover the 3 remaining major topics in short time. So the 5th major topic of this text is called the 4 means of gathering. So, 4 means of gathering. Means giving. Second is pleasant speech. And third and fourth, how to say in English, you know? Tenjaba and Tentumba.
Speaking pleasingly or speaking the Dharma and work according to the teaching, according to what one's teach.
Actually, third one is influencing others to practice. Fourth one is not only influencing others or not only asking others to practice, but oneself is also practicing the Dharma. I don't know the terms. Anyway, there are 4. Giving, pleasant speech, and then in Tibet we call Tenjaba and Tentumba. Is it here? Oh yes. First one, generosity. Second one is pleasant speech. Third one is beneficial conduct. And fourth one is exemplary conduct. So, what is the meaning of these 4 gatherings? The meaning is that in order to make the sentient beings to be able to develop the noble wisdom. So for that, we need to make a connection with the sentient beings, and then not only make the connection with the sentient beings, but also cherishing them through Dharma, or nurturing them through Dharma. So that makes them ready to develop the wisdom the noble wisdom. To make ready to develop the noble wisdom, for that we need to make the connection with others, and after making the connection, then we cherish them or we nurture them through Dharma teachings or through Dharma practice. So, first is generosity. So, through giving material gifts, and so through this we gather the followers. So here material gift means the pure material gifts, not impure ones, but pure material gifts. So through this we make them happy, we make others happy, we gather them and make them happy, we please them. Then the second one is pleasant speech. So after making them happy through giving or through generosity, then in order to ripen them, in order to plant the seed of liberation or Buddha, we need to use pleasant speech, or we need to keep teaching. So pleasant speech means not only giving teaching, but also giving or using other pleasant speech, using non-dharmic pleasant speech, like welcoming them or asking how are you, or any polite speech or gentle speech or pleasant speech. Anyway, using a speech that can make them happy, that is pleasant to hear. And third one is, what do you call? Beneficial conduct? Beneficial conduct. And fourth one, exemplary conduct. Third one is called the beneficial conduct, which means we ask them to practice the 6 perfections. We explain the meaning of these 6 perfections, and then asking them to practice the 6 perfections or other Dharma practices. And the fourth one is called exemplary conduct, which means we are not just asking them to practice, but we are also leading them by an example, or we are leading them by showing the conduct, or we ourselves doing. So we are leading by example, right? In other words, we are ourselves doing the practice, or we are ourselves engaging in such practice. So these are the 4 means of gathering: the generosity, pleasant speech, beneficial conduct, and exemplary conduct. Now the activities of these 4 means of gathering is that through material gifts or through generosity, they become worthy of receiving the Dharma teaching. And through pleasant speech, it removes their doubt, it removes their ignorance, or it removes their doubts or their ignorance about Dharma or the meaning of Dharma. And it develops their devotion, or it develops their aspiration to hear the teachings. it inspires them to hear and they listen to the teaching, etc. And third one, the beneficial conduct makes them practice the Dharma. And the exemplary conduct makes them believe on the path. And they practice Dharma on the path for a long time, and then finally they are able to perfect the path, or they are able to perfect the practice. So normally we say in the general Mahayana teaching, the most important practice is to practice the sixth perfection and the four means of gathering. In order to ripen ourselves, we need to practice the sixth perfection, and in order to ripen others, we need to practice the four means of gathering. So this is the fifth main topic. And now the sixth main topic of the text. It explains about the 5 paths and 10 bhumis. And that is the sixth main topic. So first, when a Buddhist person, when they practice and meditate on the path for a long time, then after a long time, then they can gain the special wisdom that realizes the true nature of all the phenomena, that realizes directly the true nature of all the phenomena. So that time they gained the noble wisdom, and they also becomes a noble bodhisattva. So attaining first bhumi and becoming a noble bodhisattva, entering into the path of seeing, and liberating from the samsara are all at the same time. When we are on the first 2 paths, at that time we still have afflicted emotions. We have not eradicated these emotions, these afflicted emotions. So when we are on the first 2 paths, at that time we are still in the samsara. We are not liberated from the samsara. But once we reach the first bhumi, or once we gain the path of seeing, at that time we have already liberated from the samsara, because at that time we have already eliminated the afflicted emotions completely. Not just control or suppress, but we have already eradicated the afflicted emotions. So eradicating the afflicted emotions and gaining liberation from the samsara are at the same time. Actually, when we say we need to be free from the samsara, we need to be free from samsara. We don't need to be in the prison of samsara, but we need to be free from the samsara. So this means we need to free our mind from the afflicted emotion. It doesn't mean we need to free our body from the samsara. It does not mean like that. It means we need to free our mind from the afflicted emotions. At the moment, our mind is caught up by the